Well, everybody, this is Justin Case of American Newscape, joining our friend and media personality Jerry Maldonado. I think he'll be here momentarily. Back for
Gotta get
another
my pen,
installment.
man.
Back for another installment of American Mentoring. Hello, Jerry. You got your pen to point at us to make a point?
I got my pointer and my pen, and I'm ready to go, man. I'm not comfortable without my ink in my hand.
I know. Okay. Welcome
Mr.
back to
Scribble,
welcome back to American Newscape. Hey, Jerry.
bless.
This week coincidence. What in the world is happening with regard to coincidence?
I saw a life changing event happen many moons ago for me. I received a picture, and this really started the wheels of kind of metaphysics in my life. Started. There was an article they had in 1963 at the Bronx Zoo, and there was a new attraction there. It was called the most dangerous animal in the world. And there was like a line going out the door. You had to walk through to get into the exhibit. And it was just a small little room. But when people walked in there, there was only a little light hanging above a mirror. And the captain, the most dangerous animal in the world, that people had to look at themselves. And this really got me thinking about what I was creating in my life. And coincidence coincides with what I'm looking at in that mirror as they're reflecting. I can almost guarantee it was more towards animal rights and so forth. But as an animal ourselves, we have to realize we are our own worst enemy. You know, we mentioned it many times here in America's Newscape. But coincidence is just you thinking one way and acting another, and from my perspective. And when you realize you're the cause of everything, what your thought and your effect is just the outcome of your actions, you realize coincidence is a correspondence between your thinking and your acting.
I'm catching up. The hamster is trying to catch up to that big, bold statement.
Yeah, that banter went on forever. I kept talking, man.
Well,
But it's coincidence. A lot of people think there's some outer force that causes it, and that's great. It's their belief that some omnipotent force that might cause what's happening in their life. But when they really boil down to what they see every single day as themselves, and they start thinking that process every day, they start acting that way, therefore attracting that way. So coincidence is just basically your own synchronicities compiled to form your life.
well, I agree, and I've said many times, Jerry, there are no coincidences. There
Mm,
are
you're
no
right.
coincidences.
You're right.
Things happen for a reason, and we control those reasons.
It's a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow because we were brought up in the theologian kind of omnipotent kind of thing. Not to bash anybody who believes in it. I've learned the most important things from Scripture. But when I realized Scripture and science are basically the same thing, just in a different, how should we say, set up a different way, you realize what you're attracting in life because they are warning us many times. How you act is what you attract, and they said it esoterically in Scripture. When you start realizing you're the cause and you're the effect of your life right now, you'll realize why things are happening by what you start with your thinking process. Therefore, you're vibrating into your action process. And if people can grasp that, and this is what literally saved me from many moons of anguish. When I realized I was the creator of everything, coincidence was just my outcome to my cause of thinking during that time.
Well, and I would challenge people, if you have trouble with this concept, try and take a deep breath, step back, and be objective. Be objective to your own world. Be objective to your own life. Be objective to what you are attracting to yourself.
Oh God, yes. I mean, that omnipotent belief starts wars, and we see it all the time. You start messing around with people's belief. It's a hard pill for people to swallow. But when you realize your problems, if you take off the skin of this beautiful apple, you'll see it's rotten to the core. When you start realizing who you are as a person, you'll start realizing what you're attracting. Therefore, you realize it's not a coincidence at all. It's your thought of life and your perception and your actions that are creating the so called coincidences. And for people to grasp that, it's a total paradigm shift in thinking, which therefore is going to change everything in their life.
Well, yeah, Jerry, but it's also a lazy way to go. I mean, to believe that there are no coincidences, to believe that things happen and we are responsible for that, gets rid of lots of doubt. It keeps us from wanting to throw virgins into volcanoes to make our lives
Yes.
better.
Yes. It's a beautiful wake up call when you realize you're responsible for everything in your life. When you realize you're responsible for your thoughts that put you into places and situations and circumstances that are going to create the so called coincidences. Co is just meaning together, it's a partner. Yeah, indeed. Your thoughts, your thinking, your subconscious mind, your conscious mind, those are your partners. And if people can grasp that for themselves, maybe it'll stop the so called coincidences that they believe in that are coming from a power that we've already been endowed with that they told us in scripture thousands of years ago. This is stuff that you don't really hear about, but they warned us you have the same power. Be careful with that. It's hard for people to grasp. I totally get it because belief is a core structure of one's own being. And you go in there and start trying to change that. It's a hard nut to crack. But once you do, this is why they call it revelation. You see the world in a whole new light. And for people to choose to do that is a completely different way of thinking, a new paradigm of what you're attracting and what you're becoming as a result.
And that amplifies the theory of going along just to get along, the dangers in that. If your core and
Uh,
your circle is not heading in the same direction that you are.
oh, God forbid we're the black sheep.
Yeah.
I love it. I love being the outcast, so called, because it brings me, mind you, this is my perspective and your perspective on American Newscape. It brings us our own peace, knowing that we're responsible for our thoughts, and we're responsible for what we do with our thoughts every single day, and the outcome as a result. If people can grasp that for themselves and take full responsibility, finding out that they're endowed with this amazing power to create anything they want and and grasp it with all their might, I mean, the world would be a completely different place.
Well, and I think for the people that come here on a regular basis to catch us, they recognize that we are very comfortable in our thoughts. I mean, we do not hide from them. We do not mask them. We live them.
Yes. And one note about myself, which I'm proud of, I lived on both sides of the spectrum. I've lived on the capacity of only believing that there's some omnipotent force that if I'm good enough is going to give me what I want. And the force where I am now is being that good, understanding who I am, believing who I am, and attracting who I am. There's no more fear in life. There's no more worrisome thoughts about what can happen when you realize you're in complete control and you're only telling your mind what you want to bring to it. Therefore, you start feeling it, you start vibrating it, and creating the synchronicities to only match that. This is the beauty of the law of attraction or law of vibration, or whatever you want to get into as far as esoterics when it comes to this kind of science. But they said it in both realms, in the spiritual and the philosophical. And I'm not a theologian, mind you, but at the same time, when I read the comparisons of science and religion, it's the same thing, just worded differently.
Well, yeah, and a simplification of this is, what we're attracted to. You have a room of people that are laughing, and you have a room of people that is crying and angry. What do you want to attract to yourself? Where do you want to be? And it's simple. Most of us want to be in the happy place.
Oh yeah, yeah. People think that a positive thought's going to solve all your problems. It's a positive mindset that creates a positive lifestyle, hence creating cause and effect of where you want to go in life. You can hang around the crying dome, or you can go to the happy dome. People have this beautiful choice in life, but a lot of people think that they have to be somewhere. No, you have to be yourself. That will attract that somewhere.
Right.
And
Exactly.
it's a great way of thinking because now you're in complete control. You have the same power that we're all endowed with. We're all the same. We just think at different frequency levels. If people can realize that we're just a magnet, and whatever you attach that magnet to in thought and feelings is going to come about in your state and your being. So life is fun. Don't get me wrong. It's yeah, it's a pain in the ass sometimes. I get it, but at the same time, you have a choice how you react to it. I tripped and almost fell today. I started laughing out loud, and everybody else would have an expletive next to it. Maybe it's me. I have no idea. But it's just the person I become. Whereas the person on the latter part that I used to be would have sworn, thrown things, and the whole life would have been a mess.
Well, well, and you're in a better place, and everybody around you is in a better place because you're not swearing and throwing crap.
Yeah, but you answered the question. You've answered the question perfectly. You said better place. Indeed, I had this conversation with my daughter the other day. I said, "Look, you came here to be with me. I'm giving you the foundation. You decide what house you want to build."
No, exactly. And that house is what you're going to attract, and your
Yep,
energy
indeed.
and the as you can put positive energy into that house or world, the better off you're going to be, and the better off everybody around you is going to be.
You wanna how should we say coincidence of abundance and love, and then send it out every day in your thought, your feeling, and your actions. You want a coincidence of money and of success, and only do the things that are needed to bring it because you start the engine. It depends on what kind of car you want to drive. So people have this choice every day, but indeed, there's that belief factor. It gets stuck in their mind that there's some force outside of us that's controlling us when that same force supposedly outside gave us the force on the inside to direct our life.
So may the force be with you, right? There you go.
Bingo!
There you go.
You are my father.
Yeah, Luke, you are my father. All right, Jerry. Hey, now that we've digressed into idiot thoughts such as Star Wars,
Why be serious, meatball? What the hell?
why? Yeah, exactly.
Why be serious?
Obi-Wan
Shall I
Kenobi.
say it? Shall I say it? This has been just in case.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
no. Well, Jerry, this episode is important. Why don't you give us a few tools that we can use to help reinforce the foundation of the world that we're intending to build?
I do it every day. I journal. It may sound so simple, but all I do, and I do it to this day. It's great when my daughter walks by and she sees me journaling in the middle of the night. All I'm doing is writing my life the way I want it to be and reinforcing that every day. And that repetitiveness creates the thoughts about it. Therefore, you're constantly doing it every day. Does it take a while? Yeah. I mean, you got to realize the decades that we've been trained to be something that we're not. You can't just change overnight. So if people really want this, paradigm shift in thinking requires a paradigm shift of thinking.
And I would guess while you're journaling, you're smiling.
Oh, smiling, sometimes tears. I'm a big wimp, man. I just go all out. I get all into it.
There is no such thing as a wimpy meatball.
Good
All
show,
right.
man. Good show.
All right. Hey, everybody. This has been Justin Case and Jerry Maldonado bringing you American Mentoring. Thanks for joining us. Remember, additional information and links provided in this video is read more. Today's the day to subscribe to this channel. Please learn more about Jerry Maldonado when time permits.